Hello everyone, I'm Sashana Taylor, and today I will be sharing with you my Nia Statement of Purpose, which composes of a haiku, a spoken word, and an essay. My haiku, The Importance of Medicine. Health is essential. Without it, we cannot live. With God, I will heal. Spoken word. Medicine is the art of healing. It adheres to treat anyone who is feeling pain, who is suffering from an ailment or dying. Doctors are trained and uses knowledge to understand the metabolic and overall structure of the body, to provide treatment when antibodies, viruses, and bacteria fights against the human body. Medicine has become so sufficient and important that there are treatments made for almost every disease and viruses that ever came on planet Earth. At the age of 3, still a little baby, I made a decision of who I wanted to be. Although I did not quite understand the decision I made, I felt as if there was too much sickness around me, and it was up to me to one day fulfill my purpose no matter my shade. I was always encouraged to think big, and my desire to be a surgeon has turned into my passion. My mother always told me that silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. Education is the building blocks to my passion. The seed of knowledge is the source I need to receive my MD, so that I can one day be known as Dr. Taylor, because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. My role models are dear to me because their circumstances have driven me to become successful. Dr. Benjamin Carson, Dr. Antonia C. Novello, Dr. Suzanne LaFleche, and Dr. Dorothy Brown all overcame adversity, sexism, and racism to be first in their respective fields of surgery. So who's going to stop me from successfully doing what I need to do to be incredibly great? Like Dr. Benjamin Carson, I chose to believe that I have gifted hands, and with that mindset, I will continue to stand firm while I shape my identity. One of the most influential people in my life is Mrs. Cheryl Glenn Cooper. While I was at Waterhill Middle, she was the chair for many leadership organizations. She introduced me in Oprah Winfrey once stated, "Excellence is the best deterrent to racism or sexism." This quote holds true to many women of color who aspire to be in the medical field as surgeons because the field of surgery is still male dominated. Being a woman of color, one of the only ways to achieve excellence is by first thinking big. Being taught to think big at an early age has molded me into a determined girl who will never give up on her dreams. To begin with, on October 3rd, 1991, on the Pocahontas island of Jamaica, a baby girl was born. My mother felt the need to be unique, so she decided to name me Sashana Edwina. She decided on this name because her name is Hannah and my father's name is Edwin. She wanted something different that represented the union of mother, father, and child as one. As I began to grow, transitioning from a bud to a rose, I began to learn a multitude of things and attain a plethora of different values and realize why I view life differently from many people while continuing to search to find more about my hidden identity, which will ultimately lead me to my destiny. I was raised on the motto, silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay. My mother thought it was imperative for me and my brother to know the fundamentals as to why an education is important. She made sure that it was understood that riches can be attained, but can also be gone in the blink of an eye, but an education is everlasting. A couple of months before I was born, my parents lost their home and belongings to a robbery and fire. My parents were visiting relatives and someone stole what they thought to be valuable and burnt the house down. Events like this made my mother yearn to be in a better place under better circumstances. My parents worked for the betterment of my brother and I. Food, clothing, shelter, and most importantly, us going to school was not a problem because my parents worked to provide. My first dose of schooling was at the age of 2. Many children start basic school at age 3, but because my birthday was in 2 months, I was allowed to attend. I do not have any vivid memories of myself at the age of 2, but thankfully, I was in basic school until the age of 5, so I acquired a few memories. While there, I began to mold into the person who God has set out for me to be. Religion became a major part of who I am beginning in basic school. In Jamaica, devotion to God takes place every morning before we can officially start school. The 15 minutes each morning that was taken out to sing and pray to God has continued to be a part of my daily routine. In addition to following God, I started to yearn for wisdom. The art of counting and reading was also new to me, and I found excitement and adventure in the craft of learning. During this time, I realized how important health was. Whenever I get overwhelmed with circumstances, for example, school, or I am in search of for words of encouragement, my mother always reminisces back to when I was the age of 3 and a good friend of the family became ill, and I told her that I wanted to become a doctor to take care of all the sick around me. This helped enhance my professional development because at the age of 3, I set the goal of becoming a doctor, which I am striving to achieve to this day. At the age of 5, I graduated basic school and my mother enrolled me in Anthem City Primary and Junior High School. I From grade 1 through 4, I was always placed in the first brightest classes. I performed well, always coming out at the top of my class from grades 1 to 3. When I started the 4th grade, my mother came abroad to the United States and it had a very negative impact on me. With the assistance of my mother, I was always a proficient student that behaved and was eager to learn. When my mother came to the United States, my attitude went sour. I did not care about anything in life but being with my mom. My grades began to fall, I did not pay attention in class, and I did no work. Teachers were allowed to beat children when they did not behave or when they showed no effort. It came to a point that it was understood that I cannot be touched, so my teacher moved my seat to the other end of the classroom, farthest away from her, and she gave me no attention for almost the entire school year. My report card consisted of deplorable grades. My mother realized why I was not behaving and she took me abroad to live. At this climax in my life, I realized how much my mother and family truly means to me. My family completes me. My mother continues to be my partner in crime with education by being my support system in every decision I make. Traveling across the seas to the United States, I was introduced to teachers who pushed me and enhanced my full potential. I found the transition from Jamaica to America fairly easy and I enjoy having a new life. October 1st, 2002 was a very important day for me. I was in the 5th grade and my teacher received a call from the office saying that there was a new student. The entire class became anxious because we were all eager to meet this new student. Valia Marie Hall walked in, and who would have thought that we would have become best friends and remained best friends for all these years. Meeting her has taught me how to be a loyal friend and how a good friend should treat me. There are many people who have come in and out my life, but she has remained with me through every situation that I have been through. She is a very important person in my professional development because she has continued to be a motivation to me. There are times when I feel like changing my major because it becomes demanding and stressful, and she's always there to remind me of the many reasons why I decided to seek higher education in the first place. After graduating from Lauderhill Paul Turner Elementary, I attended Lauderhill Middle Community School. The 3 years spent at this school has given me some of my best memories and experiences to date. While at the school, I learned about service, giving back to the community, and most importantly, to my school. I became so involved in my school, it felt as if I was being sculpted into a leader. One of the most influential people in my life is Mrs. Cheryl Glenn Cooper. While I was at Lauderhill Middle, she was the chair for many leadership organizations. She inducted me in National Honor Society, student governance, she made me responsible for the afternoon and morning announcements, and she made me try for the cheerleading squad. Mrs. Cooper taught me that hard work and giving back always pays off, if not directly to me, then for someone else. I am at the point in my life where I feel that I have to always volunteer and help people because Mrs. Cooper instilled this in me in the 6th grade. Because of this, I would like to open up my own nonprofit neurology center in the country. Oprah Winfrey has used her success to build the Leadership Academy Foundations to help educate and turn gifted Southern African girls from impoverished backgrounds into the country leaders, and I want to do the same. I want to one day use my success to either train gifted young ladies in schools of surgery or to build a nonprofit organization to serve the country. I believe that the summer of my 7th grade year was one of the most important chapters of my life. Like any other 13-year-old with nothing to do for the summer, I decided to explore resources at the local library. I was determined to read 10 books or more for the summer. One of the books that were listed on the reading log was Gifted Hands by Benjamin Carson. I always knew that I wanted to be in the medical profession, but I did not know exactly where I wanted to specialize. When I read this book, I felt that God Himself was in my face telling me, this is what you ought to do with your life. This is your destiny. Ever since that day, I have told myself that I will be a pediatric neurosurgeon who will save lives. I strongly believe that ultimately becoming a pediatric neurosurgeon will give me the self-fulfillment that I crave for. In 1987, Dr. Benjamin Carson successfully separated Siamese twins who were born to his head. He is the first man to perform such an operation. Dr. Benjamin Carson has inspired me to be the first woman to do something just as miraculous as separating Siamese twins or open a neurology center in an underprivileged country. Dr. Benjamin Carson's achievements have motivated me to research women of color in the field of surgery. Dr. Susan LaFleche Peacock is an Omaha Indian and the first Native American woman to become a surgeon. Many Native Americans in her time sent their children to school in hopes that they will learn how to make the tribe better. When our grandmothers sent their children to school, it was with self-sufficiency and over the production of new things in mind. They did not realize that we will not be able to create iron-looking pots from the ore of the earth. Susan's father did not expect her to go to school to learn how to build pots, but to get an education to be what she wanted to be. In addition, Dorothy L. Brown sought to change race and gender barriers of African American women by becoming the first African American surgeon in the South. Dr. Brown's perseverance to become a surgeon has affected many African American women in a positive way. Also, with hard work and perseverance, Antonio C. Novella was appointed Surgeon General by President George H. W. Bush in 1990. She is the first woman of color, and Hispanic woman to hold such a position. In addition to Dr. Benjamin Carson, these women are my role models because they provide odds to pursue their dreams. When I was in Jamaica, I did not know the definition of racism or sexism. The most I had to worry about was how my education was going to be paid for because my education in Jamaica is not great. When I came to the United States, the script was flipped, and instead of worrying about money, I was worrying about the racism and sexism associated with my desired profession. My role models have taught me to stare adversity in the face, smile, and continue to pursue my dreams. After graduating from Lauderhill Middle, I attended Blanche Eva High School because of the pre-medical program. I decided to enter this program because I thought it would have been an important asset in helping me figure out exactly what I wanted to do at the collegiate level. The 4 years spent in high school were the hardest I have worked during my entire educational career because I needed to secure myself by making sure I would get to higher education. To conclude, I graduated from Blanche Eva High School in the top 2% of my class. I am now at the University of Florida in search of my destiny. I do not know where life will lead me, but as of now, I am still hoping to become a pediatric neurosurgeon, which will one day benefit me by allowing me to work on the international level with surgery. Personal drive is an asset to my college success because I have to be motivated and persistent to be successful in this society. Education is a key to success, and if I do not desire to learn, no one cares because they are not the one who has to live with the consequences. While searching for my identity, my desire is to have an amazing time. I will continue to think big and strive for excellence while defying racism like Dr. Benjamin Carson and sexism like Dr. Susan LaFleche Peacock, Dr. Dorothy Brown, and Dr. Antonia C.